Hello guys, welcome to another quick review. This is of 080723 on the 26th of November. Show me the site or area or objects connected to the tag 080723 from the crvviewer.com. Let's do it. Emotional state, physical state. Got a little doodle to get into my session. And on that note, let's have a look at the target. So this target is called Super Kamiokande Detector. It's about 1 kilometer underneath a mountain, and it's in an old abandoned zinc mine. So I shall bring up some details of this mine. First, we've got pretty much the detector itself and how big it is. It holds up to 12 million gallons of pure water. So they're doing this massive building. It's got lots of water. It detects neutrinos, collisions. So whenever these neutrinos go through solid matter, they're so small, they're smaller than atoms, they go through things, and when they hit each other, they leave a little spark. That's what this big giant site is built for. So I'll share some more pictures. Here we've got some pictures of the top and bottom. We've got them working close to the top of this thing, so they must just fill up the water until they must maintain all these detectors. So this thing is massive, giant, and they go around in a little dinghy and must maintain all these lights, detectors inside the device. So let's go. So first picture, boom, second, third, fourth, fifth. So basically they're just pictures of the entire complex inside that big light detector. So on that note, let's kick into it and see if we can't link some of these impressions that I've got to the target site. On that note, let's do it. All right, first page, what do we got? We've got steady head pressure building up when heading down. So building up when heading down. Head at top felt pressure release, head open. So for some reason my head just feels like it's got a pressure release compared to the other body, and the top of my head just feels open, like there's no pressure in there at all. Pressure felt in front of head, body feeling cold around torso, arms and thighs. So all I can really say there is maybe we're doing the site where my head would be at the top of the site is not so pressurized, doesn't experience the pressure, but as I go down you can feel the pressure building, and around this body feeling cold flows around torso and arms. Maybe I'm just that big giant pool. We're feeling that very loosely at this stage of the ideogram trace. So we've got the structure, pressure in ears, number 1. Number 2, release, relaxed over here. High pressure, solid form. So going down, if we're going to do this, put this catching neutrinos, Super Kamiokande. If this was top and bottom, basically, down here is where you get most of the high pressure. Up here is where you get a lot of the little pressure and maybe some structures. And it sort of looks like that in the makeup of the declares or the impressions felt. So high pressure, solid form, low pressure, number 1, structures, pressure in ears. So that's where it maybe just starts. But hey, it's all guesswork. And we're just playing with it in our minds as we go through. That's how we learn. We've got to self-teach ourselves. So on our first sense, we've got touch 1. Itchy face, left cheek, cold flows over arms, cold flows over feet felt. So I've got a picture of me with my arms doing the probes, and I can feel flows going up my body and over my arms at the same time. At the bottom, I can feel it sort of feels like cold flows over my feet. Something comparable to that would be like stepping in water or stepping into a river or something like that. And you can feel those flows go. Interesting. Let's go touch 2. We've got here a picture of myself, and we've got some funnels. So let's look at these here. Top feels open, not pressured. So feel on face funnel. Feel in face funnel-like shape. Pressure in sides of face like squeezing in. So maybe it's the top of this big complex, you know, where we're squeezing things down in here. Okay, what else we got? We got feels like chest and arms are open, exposed, and cold. So when I look at this, I'm thinking, okay, at the top it's all squeezed in, and then it's all exposed. So maybe we've got a tight connection from up here to down here. There's a bottleneck. So as far as I can sort of link it to, I think it's the entrance to this complex. You come through the mine, and you come through those through the mountain, and you get to the point where you reach the Kamiokande, and it's open, just like the picture here, where you got an open picture, and you've got all the mines and the rooms going to it, and then it just opens up and expands out. So maybe it's that, maybe it's not. I think it is, because my body's sort of feeling the pressure, and then it just opens up at that point. But it was a good it's a good link. So I think it's the Kamiokande or Super Kamiokande structure, where the body is representative of the big thing, the big room, cylindrical room, and everything else is tight and funneled going into it. Next, we have touch 3. Feels like pressure around whole body, like submerging body into water. So the feeling that I felt was, I felt pressure all over my body, like on my skin. It was like the closest. It was like I was wearing like a wetsuit, but not as pressured. You know, it was subtle pressure, but it was like a wetsuit. What else we got? Like wearing pressure suit. Like, okay, well, there we go. That's a pressure suit. Head feels like solid, hard structure in middle of head with pressure around body. Okay, so solid, hard structure in the head and pressure around the body. Could be the site. It doesn't really link it directly to the site, but as far as the what the site has, these things can do sound like they are appropriate. Well, that makes sense. Texture 1, feel pressure around body. Head feels like pressure building up. Surface of skin feels moist, wet like splashes of cold felt. So more pressure, more underground pressure coming through, more wetness, moist coming through, pressure's coming through. So hey, more of the same. Texture 2, exposed, open direction. So I've got a picture of me here, and I've got arrows pointing through. So basically, when I was probing, my mid-torso, or my torso, top of the thighs, felt like these descriptors. Exposed, open direction, cold area, fluid-like, midsection, cold flows, all felt around the body. Texture, smell of electronics. Very interesting. Smell of electronics. You know, it sort of smelled like a electricity burn, almost like metal, basically. So we've got texture 3, smell of electronics. Yep, well, there's electronics there. Cold on inside of arms. So this impression tells me that I'm inside something, literally, because it's cold on the inside of my arms. So if I were to be something like a cave, or be like a cave, everything on the inside of this cave is exposed to air. So when I do put my arms in a circle, sort of thing like that, my arms on the inside sort of go cold, which tells me that air is exposed on the inside of this thing, not on the outside. Like, it's not an outside structure, it's on the inside. So that's what I'm getting in this one here, the impression that I'm inside something, definitely, and the smell of electronics. So we've got those impressions coming through, which is good. Feels like helmet on tight. Exposed skin feels outside-ish. Feels like a box inside when breathing. Okay, so temp 1, we've got temp 1 here. So this is temperature. So I concentrate on temperature type impressions. Feels like helmet on tight. So sometimes I get other impressions like structural and that sort of stuff, and you can write it down. It means something. So these guys are hanging in there. Let me just bring up a photo. Hanging on their boat. They look like they got hats on. Yeah, so I'm thinking it could be one of them. I'm not too sure. Exposed skin feels outside-ish. So these guys sort of are inside. Let's not mistake that. They're inside, they're deep inside a cave. But their skin feels exposed, which means that there's a big area in which their skin can feel cool. The only other one after that feels like box inside when breathing. So when I breathe, you can do a sort of a breathing while you're doing the probe. It's the impression that it feels like is that you're breathing inside a box, inside a room. So when you breathe in, you can sort of feel the room restricting your breathing, so it feels constrained. So that's sort of the basic technique, is when you breathe and you're doing your probes, if it feels like you're breathing inside a box, or you're breathing and there's pressure detected, usually means for me that it's inside the person who's breathing, or wherever the target is. It's inside something, inside an enclosed space, because the breathing isn't that good. If it's exposed and open, like you can't feel any sort of resistance when you breathe, it's outside because there's no pressure. But when you're inside, you can sort of feel that pressure that you're inside a box. Anyway, so temp 1, definitely yes, found the photo for that. Exposed skin, yes. Feels like a box inside, yes. Temp 2. So I've got my feet here. Feels like feet are in a creek with flows going over, going first, post. Really cold skin, I don't know what that is. Really cold skin felt, lots of skin, front of me, feels structural, wall-like, solid, strong feeling, feel a lot of energy in front of me, attention, direction, and noise. All right, so as far as energy goes, it's there. Solid, strong feeling. They're in a mine. He's looking at a wall of lights or detectors. He's in a massive structure. That's what it feels like to me. If he's close to the bottom, then he could probably walk out and look at the lights, but I doubt it if they do that, because it's pure water. They have to keep it clean. So I'm thinking that the first picture very much looks like temp 2. Temp 3, tingly hands, feel squeezed. So I've got some feet drawn here, and I can draw some flow directions. So they're going in the direction. Head pressure rises in front of head specifically. Flow and direction, cold in front. So not too sure what that could be. I don't see any feedback that might accurately describe these impressions. So on that note, just another water one. Let's go to the next one. We have color 1. We've got blues, darks, and reds for number 1. For number 2, we've got darks, yellows, yellow light, whites, reds, and greens. So we've got some greens, reds. We've got tinges of all sorts in that second one. Browns, reds, and darks. So not so much 1 and 3, but definitely number 2. Let's go with smell. Warm, thick air, some cold air. Air mostly. Oil. Equipment, machinery. AOL. What's this? a room. I can't read my writing. Anyway, machine room, something like that. Warm, definitely. If there's no ventilation, if it's so enclosed, I would expect it to be warm. Thick air, as far as it being closed up, yep. Some cold air, mostly. Warm air, mostly. Oil, I'm not too sure about the oil, but maybe it's part of the machinery or the equipment that's been set up. I'm not too sure. But as far as equipment and machinery, we won't worry about that. As far as machinery goes, it just smelt like the oil, slight smell of oil and structural smell too. Sweet smells, moist, noise, tingling, cool air and area. So interesting. I'm not too sure what they could be. Maybe they like chewing gum. I'm not sure. Smell things. I smell a room, enclosed space, thick air smell. Ears feel like popping. So ears feel like popping is definitely like either going really high or going really deep. It's the pressure, air pressure thing, and I could feel like my ears were going to pop just for that probe. It's unusual, but yeah. What have we got? Forms around the head, band of pressure felt. So just something around my head going from top to bottom, like a headband to hold back hair, or a helmet of some kind. I put diving there, something flashed up, doesn't matter. Here one, feels like left ear is a little swollen, pressure in ear felt, left side down the side of head is against a wall. Well, they've got walls around them, so maybe I'm detecting. So hearing acts as also sort of like a structure detector as well. So hearing detects sound coming off it, whether reverbs off that wall, or if it's just absorbing all the sound because it's so thick and it's so solid, those sorts of things. But here, my head is next to a wall. It could be anything. They could be in the boat. They could be talking to each other. It's not too distinct, or we can't really ping it towards any of those pictures. But head against the wall, I can imagine it. Let's go to here too. Left ears. Okay, so my head felt like pressure, but in my left ear, it felt like something was leaking out. I just felt pressure all around my head, except for my ear. And it was like, I wouldn't say it was like relieving that pressure at all. It was just like all these were pushing in, and this little thing was just leaking out. Sending out energy, noise, or sound. I couldn't hear anything. And for here 3, it's pretty much the same thing. I just felt a lot of pressure, and then I felt this little sort of leak of this pressure coming out, or coming out of this point out of my left ear. I'm just wondering if it could be where they let the water out. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Join 1. So join is all about emotions, connecting to people and trying to get information around the site. So we got join 1. Sore across upper back, felt like old back pain, felt strain across entire back when probing, hard work. No, heavy structure. I'm looking at it now and I'm thinking, wow, this thing is under a mountain. It is weighing lots. That's sort of my link, is if I'm going to get like a sore, strained upper back, I'm going to think, that's a good indicator for weight or capacity or size. It's massive. So as far as massiveness and linking, I think it's that. Join 2. Feel short of breath, shallow breathing, Shrinking, pressure all sides, AOL suit. Okay, so when I was breathing, it just felt shallow, shallow breathing, shrinking. So all I can think, let's bring up the picture, is when they're doing the roof. So if I bring up this picture and they're only meters away from the roof, I think that's this picture here. They've got hardly any oxygen in that space. There should be a lot of pressure and not a lot of air. So it's really only a guess. I can't tell for sure, but I believe that's what this impression is conveying. Join 3, wasted, tired, heavy pressure, cold down back, cold feeling. So maybe a sweaty back, wasted, tired, heavy pressure. They must work in heavy pressures, I would say. And it looks like a tiring job. Not really a link to the site, but an acknowledgement of their work as well. But if this came through, then I'll gladly accept it. So let's do it again. So page 5, page 6. So snapshots. I got a lot of these curvatures, curved structures coming through. It was like a big structure, but I was only really going up to like a small portion of it. But all I felt was curved, like windows and lights. So snapshot 1, curved structure. I believe it's this detector itself. Snapshot number 2, smell, dog smells. I don't think there's a dog in here. They won't allow a dog in that space, so I'm not too sure what that dog smells was. Could be from neighbours next door. I got a structure here, I got a wall, and I've got a subject here. I don't know if that's a path. That could be just the boat, and that's the wall of lights. Snapshot number 3, shapes, oval, curves. So all I got was a lot of these curves. So if you look at these pictures, very much like these pictures here, maybe I saw them, I'm not too sure. But all these shapes are relevant to the target. There we go, we're on the matrix now. So we've got sensorials, magnitude, topological, energetics. So let's go through sensorials. It's just your normal sessions up to this point. Magnitude is anything to do with size and shape. Topological is basically for the shapes, any shapes that come through. Energetics is anything you can feel at the site that pertains to energy, so hot, cold, blah, 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 movement. Physical is the modeling technique that I use, where I just wave my hands in front of me and I try and pick up sensors from the target as if it was a model in front of me. Paraphysical is very much everything non-physical at the site. Symbolics is anything that's symbolic that pops into your mind. Subjectives, anything emotional that may come from the site. PR is personal response, so that's anything that like sweating or goosebumps or freezing, shivers, anything like that happens to your body. And snapshots and concepts, any concepts that might pop through on your head as well. So let's kick into it. Sensorials, we got body suit, tight, pressure in ears, feels cold against skin. So very much the descriptors of the site, not really any more detail, more than what we got through the previous sensors. Magnitude, feel pressure around body, molded to body, pressure against face. So it's basically, it was pressurized everywhere over my body. Not really physical or good descriptors for the pitch, for the site there, but it still shows items of interest. Topological, we have got see-through, bright. So we got see-through. I don't think it was bright. It's very much the shape. Topological looks like my shape of the schematic diagram of the site. So popping that up there, we've got the dome at the top. What else we got? We could be looking down into the pool as well. AOL have goggles? Nope. They could be wearing goggles, I'm not too sure. But I'll link it to the site anyway. It seems more appropriate. Energy, what I got. So this one was really weird. Energy. So as I was sitting here doing the probes and everything else, I got this. This is one of the descriptions. Cold path up leg. Flow slowly making its way up my leg like a cold breeze blowing up my calf. Basically, I was sitting here in my chair doing the probes for this energy one, and I could feel like a cold, I wouldn't say worm, a cold breeze, like someone blowing cold wind through a straw. And it was blowing up my ankle. It started off my foot, then it started blowing up. This cold trail started going up my calf, going up my calf muscle, past my knee, and then started making its way across my thigh and started going up my back before it sort of went. That was weird. I've never had that before. Not so distinct. It felt like someone blowing cold air with a straw, slowly going over your skin up your leg. Now, as far as what I think this impression may link to, I'm thinking that it's actually of the structure, and it's maybe detailing how deep or how submersed into the earth that this site is, and my impressions were just showing me how deep this thing was inside the earth. So as far as future stakes go, I got to keep an eye out for this cold trail to see if it's the beginning of something, that if I do any more deep in the middle of the earth type targets, that if I use energy, can I trace it? Will it give in another example of a trail going back up my body? Because I think that it's trailing, giving an example of what the site is. So the site, the person traveling up the site and exiting. Interesting. That's what I think that is anyway, is the cold trail out of the site. Physical. Now this is my favorite one here, and this one has the most linkage, I would say, to the site. So here we go. I laid out the land, and as I was passing my hand through the air, I felt all these baubles on the side. So as I passed my arm through, I could feel like 4 layers of bubbles of these energy feelings. Then there was nothing for ages, then one little bubble or one little structure in the middle, nothing for ages, and then a whole series of these bubbles. Now, what do I think this is? I think this is of the cylindrical detector. There was about 4 layers, or I've written 3 layers of these lights or these circles, and they felt like little baubles as my hand was going through them, and it came out on both sides. Now, when I finished this session, I wanted to check to see if the baubles actually went up, and do they connect, up this way. And so I didn't write it down, but as I was passing my hands through it over to this side, as I was going through here, and I passed my arm in front of me, and I could feel all these signals, sensors, whatever. I actually went, so I could feel it through my arms and my forearms, and I went up here. And what I found was this continues. When I went up here, I found the baubles, and then I went sideways, and they went this way. So I believe that these were connected somehow. I should have wrote it down. But anyway, I did feel those impressions, those physical impressions of all those detectors on the side, and I was able to determine that it went around within the session. Even though I didn't write it down, it is a really good sign to have the modelling or the physical sense pick up on all those bulbs and the water. And maybe this is the guys in the boat, I don't know. But I found both the sides of the lights on either side of this target. Alright, so I've got here an object, I've got sides, yes, I've got cold air on both sides, so that's nothing. This will be the water, that might be the guys in the dinghy, and these will be the detectors. Alright, so here we go, para, flow direction, slowly. So, when I did this one, it felt like I was moving forward and air was passing by me, like I was going through something. And that's all I could really detect. So either that is air, and my body's just moving. So if I redraw this, and the front is looking at my nose, that's the direction it felt like I was going. But it was only slowly. It wasn't like speeding, it wasn't blustery, it was just a slow sort of movement, that's it. And that's for para. Symbolic, what we got, felt like an arm brace. I just drew what the arm brace felt like. I'm not too sure what that could be. Okay, and the other side I got it from it was I saw this walkway and I had these lights coming up from the bottom. It was like all this was like not lit up, and then I had these gaps and lights, walkway / lights. I should put an AOL on that. But that's what I saw, is I saw like bright, but over the path, not much at all. This one, I'm not too sure what it could be. It could be something that the guys wear for their maintenance. It could be even structural drawing of the building, going down into the mine, something like that. But yeah, I only really sort of felt that. I didn't really see it, I felt it. So it'll be interesting to see. Whatever that could have. Subjectives, all right, we've got some emotions coming up. We've got stuffed, pressure, cramped, squeezed. I just felt those descriptors coming through. So if they're on that top one where there's bugger all air and it's full of water, I'd feel those. I'd really feel those. PR, personal responses, nothing. Concepts, little, path, small pipe, large pressure, tingly skin, all around body. Interesting. All around body, large pressure, tingly skin, all around body. Little, path. So that could be just describing the environment, or the actual site as well. What we got here for snapshots, we've got some things going down. I actually thought it was someone's legs, because when I looked at it, it looked like someone's sitting down across from me, hands in the pockets, yeah, not really anything that I can sort of point it towards. Even in the pictures, there's really nothing there. Nope, it's not even the light. Okay, so the snapshot 2, we've got the wall again, and we've got a path. No, it's not a path, that's just water. And we've got some people or something happening next to the wall. So another wall, somebody sitting. Not really much from these ones, but yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So it wasn't too bad. The impressions were really good. That came through. The flows, I'm really surprised about the detectors, and the best shapes and impressions that I got was of the physical, which was feeling the rows of bumps that I could feel as my hand went over this area of space, and I could detect these rows of bumps, and bump, 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 one bump, 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 bump. So cool, guys. On that, yep, I will be posting this up soon. You can look at the full version to see how I detected those impressions, or just to see how the impression came through and how I wrote it down. In this one, you'll get all my notes and ideas and those sorts of things. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.